Hello everyone, and welcome back to Bandai Prod and Figure Review, your one-stop for everything models, tools, and figures alike. And we have a very special episode today, and this is going to be an answer from the comments on one of my videos dealing with some of the action bases. So yes, I do read those comments, so keep commenting and keep giving me ideas for potential videos. So this one is a fun one because apparently he did not find a lot of videos explaining the difference between these two action bases. And this is to answer Dark McCason Fire's question of, I have some MG kits that I want to get some action bases for. How does the action base 8 compare to 4? Because I've heard the action base 4 is the best, but I don't see anyone actually comparing 4 and 8, which are the two built specifically for MG kits. So this is a very good question, and in this video we are going to be looking at both action base number 4 and number 8 and doing a really good in-depth side-by-side comparison on which one seems to be the best or the best option for those who are looking for more action bases. So let's roll opening and take a look at action base number 4 and 8. So this is actually where we're going to really dissect the action bases in this section of the video. And to do that, first we're going to kind of peek at the instruction manual a little bit. We can actually see how well everything is actually explained onto here. Again, apologies if that's really hard to see. I'm always fighting glare. But we can actually see fairly good for all of the instructions on how this is all going to be put together. So the first thing that I actually noticed that this is actually 3 action bases all combined. So each one of these is a separate action base. It is not a solid piece. So there's a lot that you can do with the customizations. The first thing what we're going to be noticing is a lot of holes here. So this gives us a lot of play with different types of effects, peg holes here, so we can actually do quite a bit of cool effects, and there are actually 3 of these as we can see here. And like I said, each one of these fits in one of these diameters fairly well, so they can just slide in just like that. The lovely thing about this is the amount of customization that you can actually do to actually put everything together. And this does go through everything where each one of these arms is a standalone. So we can actually do where we even have small little arms here that we can see with some of the other 30-minute and effects packages that have these. And the lovely thing, because we do have some smaller holes here, we can actually put the smaller one actually in and have the bigger one on top. So that's actually really nice that we can actually do that, and all we have to do is go with a bigger hole to put our other one in. So that's really cool on the customization for this. And that's actually the one thing I noticed when building this particular one, is the sheer amount of creativity and possibilities with this for the customization. So I was very happily impressed with actually how well all of this actually combines together. And it's very modular, as we can see. There's just a sheer number of parts that can definitely help with building any or displaying any particular figure. So starting off, we can actually just put these 2 together, and we have these teeth along here that you can see. We have some nice little teeth here, and that's where these little ladder looking things. So we do have a long one, a medium one, and we even have a tiny one. So this allows us to get different ranges for our articulation, since there is no real locking mechanism, since it is on a kind of a crescent shape that we can see right there, and it just slides right in. And we just want to make sure we have teeth with teeth for when we do our thing, that they come together like that. And this is actually the part that's actually kind of cool, is we have 3 different kinds of bases. For the main one for this, we're actually going to be just using a standard one right here, and we can actually articulate these fairly well, because we have these 2 nubs here that just pop out, and that allows us to move our peg in any direction that we want, and we can lock it up because there's little gear teeth in these parts right here, so allowing us to actually articulate these fairly well actually. And then we can just go down in here, and that's where some of these pieces like this come in handy, where you can just slide those in just like that and place it right in here. And now we can see that that's fairly loose. So to help us reinforce this, that's where these come in, and they just somewhat snap, so they can actually hold fairly well. Actually, you can see they hold really well, and so we can actually snap those, and we have essentially what we want in place. So to help us out, because I'm going to show you what each one of these looks like for display purposes, I have decided to bring over my Shenlong Gundam that I have just recently have built. So I already have a stand for him, but he's going to be our stand-in, so to speak. So we're going to just kind of put him on here and see how well he actually does. The thing is, he already has a peg already. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to use some of the tools we have to already put him on. So let's just set him right there. And to do that, we have these lovely little squares, and I believe there are 2 or 3 of these squares, and they just slide right on just like that. And then we can angle our figure just like that, and we can also angle that up a little bit more, and we can actually raise this up where he can pop up a little bit more. So, and all we do is actually just slide him into the peg hole, and this is where we can actually have him where he's actually just standing on the action base, just like so. And he actually fits on there really nicely, and he's pretty on there actually. So you can do a lot of really cool poses. And the biggest test is how well does this actually hold up with him actually do like maybe a floating kick or something like that. That's where we can actually really articulate these into the place that we want, and we can just move him just like that, and he holds really nicely on this. And this is where we actually still have quite a bit of other tools and effects that we can actually use to actually put him together. So this gives us a lot of customization. So this is actually a really good one, especially if you are wanting to do a cool effects, because again, a lot of these actually combine to each other, so you can continuously put more and more of these action bases together to make a really big grid. So that's the overall review for this particular one. Like always, they just still have the standard 3, 6, 9, and 11 millimeter diameter, but we also have a lot of customizations with different bases that we can actually do at shorter lengths, where we can do each individual arm as a separate piece. So we can actually just pop him off real quick and just slide him right in our little corner there, and it just simply just pops, and just carefully detach the crescent pieces, and you are ready to start working on some of the other bases. And we can just slide these So we might need another piece here, and that's actually where these pieces come in. So they're just extra little pieces that go onto the crescent, and that allows us to peg these into our hole here, and that's where we can start using some of the other smaller ones that we can just do just like that. And then we can actually add some of our other pegs, like for instance, if we wanted to put a 1/44, we can actually do that and pop a 1/44. So let me grab one real quick, and here we have a nice little 1/44 scale, and I can just pop that bad boy right on there, and he holds pretty good. And we do also have our little pincer right here, and that just kind of, you can have them go from behind depending on which ones that you want, so that will help out with that. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of parts and customization that you can actually do with this, where we can have different peg types and a lot of nice customization. So ultimately, the combination that I feel comfortable with this one is the double arm here, along with the small little one right here, because we can have a lot of customization with this going back and forth. So this is going to be the main configuration that I would actually recommend, just because it works so well for what we need, and it has the lovely ability of these 3 different ladders to give us different angles that we would want for our figure to be posed. So that gives us a large, very, very good range of articulation and play for what we want. So we could just go more as a simple upwards and have it sit right there, and then we can just move our peg angle right there, and then with our adapters we can just slide that there and slide him into his thing, and he actually does hold fairly well. So, but again, you want to play with the articulations, for we know what will work better, since he seemed like he was a little top heavy. I'm going to want to lower it down a little bit, bring that up, and maybe bring that back a little bit for here. And I feel like this is going to be one of the better poses or articulations where I can actually play with it a little bit more, as we can see. So that's looking really nice already. So this was the action base number 4. So let's actually transition over to the action base number 8. Now transitioning to the action base number 8, this is going to be a lot more simpler. So what we have is a basic tray right here. It's really nice. It's very, you could decorate this and do a whole bunch of nice cool customizations and stuff like that to the base. But the only downside that I've noticed with this one, it only has 4 locations. We have a far back, a center, and a left and right. So it doesn't give us a lot of range for us to actually put our figure. And another thing is, it only gives us 1 arm compared to multiple different combination of arms. And the thing about this one is, that I do like about this one is, it does have these little screws on here, or Allen hex nuts on here, so you can tighten these with an Allen wrench. So if you do have a much heavier Gundam or action figure, you can actually tighten these and loosen these to where it actually will hold the figure. So that just slides in right here, and we can actually just articulate these fairly well, where we can actually put our figure on. And this is where we actually do have the standard little hole where we can actually have put our 1/44 scale peg in here, or we can actually put a few other pegs as well. Which, lovely thing about this is from the other set, and there we have our pegs. So even if you lose them, you can actually still interchange these as well. So that's the lovely thing about a lot of these Gundam bases, that they're all really kind of close to each other for at least the diameters that we need. So we can actually now put our figure here, which we might need to raise this up, bring that down, slide that there, and there we go. So now we have him a little bit more on the thing. So we can actually go in and individually unscrew these. I'm not going to do that because I had this already set for another figure. But as we can see, it's looking really nice. He's actually on there fairly solid, actually. I'm actually doing a nice little shake. He's actually on there very, very, very solid. And with it being a translucent one, it works really well when you're trying to do like a blend. So I may end up wanting to get a couple more of these particular ones just because they blend so well with that. And we have a lovely range where we can actually have this up close or far away. So that actually works really, really well and allows very good play and posability with this. And it just looks solid. And it's just really nice overall. And as we can see, I can actually go at some really extreme angles. And he just holds on there pretty good. This base is really nice and solid. So you can do a lot of really cool, fun effects. And you can simply just untighten these hex nuts. I'm kind of forcing them a little bit just to showcase that they, even with hard maneuvers, they still hold really well. So overall, this is actually a fairly good stand, and I definitely do recommend getting this one as well. So that is my overall review for these, and again, it comes down to what you are wanting. So to answer your question, it's a very tough question. It comes down to what size a model are you doing, what exactly are you wanting to do for your displays. So that's the biggest thing with that, to answer your question. For overall general me wanting to put it on a shelf, I would actually just kind of recommend getting the Action Base number 8. It's simple, it's sturdy, it will hold very, very well. And it looks clean. It's very sharp lines. It's very nice. And you can actually still customize these trays, since they do actually have a sticker customization on some of the other Action Bases that have actually came out. And some of them were from Mercury, and even from G-Quox, where you have these nice little trays. And there are even some that have a nice mirror finish on a few of them for some of the Action Bases of the newer versions, where you don't get that lovely customization option with these, other than multiple arms where you can do different types of poses and stuff like that. That concludes this review over the Action Base number 4 and number 8. I hope this video was informative and helped you with picking out which one you are kind of looking for. I try to go into really good in-depth of the different types of combinations, customizations, and all sorts of other stuff. So I hope this video helps you out with figuring out which one of those are going to be perfect for your master grade figures. So definitely leave a comment down below on which one you decided to go with, because I'm definitely curious, since I did this video specifically for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this type of content. Please like and subscribe. I do read these comments, and help this channel keep growing. We are already at 400. Let's get to 500. And definitely leave some comments on what we should do for our 500th video, since it looks like this channel is slowly growing thanks to you guys. So until then, I'll see you guys in the next video, and stay building.